All right, we're going to be starting in 3, 2, 1.
An innovative world of electronics.
You climbed up in the dragon's mouth.
Hey everyone, it's Friday, June 16th. My name's Bobby Frankenberger, and you're listening to episode 20 of the Sixth World Podcast. Hey! Executive producer for today's episode is James O'Neill. He's our best executive producer. He's always our executive producer. Thank you, James, for supporting the show. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, who's actually sitting right next to me today as we do this live show from Origins. Cassie, how's it going? Cassie Levitt, who's my co-host. Cassie?
You need to stop being so nervous. You're freaking out.
I know. I am sweating up here.
Yeah, you're repeating yourself a lot. Keep it to one sentence.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Our guest today, also sitting right next to me, to my immediate left, is everybody knows and loves him. He's
His name is Cliff from the Archaeology Podcast.
Thank
you might
you.
know him as Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, Cliff from the Archaeology Podcast. Hey!
That's me. Hello.
What a rock star.
And sitting next to him, he never can wait to be introduced. Damien from the Violent Life Podcast. Give him a round of applause. You know, I was so shocked. I'd heard stories about how tall you were, Damien, but I was still surprised.
Yeah, I've got that height thing.
Yeah. We were just saying before the show started that Damien should go into pro wrestling.
I'd have to actually put on some muscle for that.
Don't sell yourself too short, Damien. We've got an audience here. Let's not forget to introduce them. From all of our friends here that are also at Origins, because that's where we are. So say hello. Cheer for yourselves. I also have in the audience that I have to make special shout out to is my wife, Stephanie, over there. She really does deserve a round of applause. She really makes it possible for me to do this. And I'm gonna be sappy for a second. She makes it possible for me to do all this. She really does support me very well. She tolerates everything that I do. She's especially tolerated me while we've been here at Origins. Yeah, thank you, Steph.
Let's not forget to thank the Cows demo team and all you guys for letting us steal your room after hours. Otherwise, we didn't have a place to do this.
Yeah, we should thank them again. I mentioned in the last show, Bob Volbrecht in particular made it possible for us to do this. But Catalyst in general and the demo team who were still running games while we were setting up in here and distracting all of their players, I'm sure.
Yes, shout out to the demo team back in the corner. Mike Messmer running a GM's game after hours. This will be the finale adventure from the current Shadowrun mission season, if I remember correctly. I was going to play, but I'm doing this instead.
Final countdown, end of Chicago, that's right. We're really excited to be here at Origins. Damien, you just got in. When did you get in?
Got in on Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday evening.
We've been here since Tuesday? Tuesday, we got
13th.
Yeah, me and Cassie got some drinks together on Tuesday with Joel DePippa, who's also here. He's been on the show before, Joel. We've had lots of fun. Run into Cliff and his family. They're all here.
Yep, brought the kids again this year.
Yep. That's been, by all accounts, pretty exciting for them.
Yeah, they're really enjoying it a lot. My son wants to spend more time in the electronics game room. He would spend the whole time there if we let him.
Have you been to I was walking around and saw there's a Pokemon family room. Have you been in there?
Yes. You can go in there and play Pokemon, and the people there very, very, very much want you to demo the card game with them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are they
They're
pushing?
rather insistent about it.
Demo this game.
That's funny.
They're just enthusiastic. They love it. They're nice.
Yeah.
And it's a cool room. They're showing Pokemon movies, big screen in there. And
I've never played the card game, but me and my wife are pretty fanatical about Pokemon Go. So we
the
like
card
to do
game's better than Pokemon Go.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
If we're still doing awkward thank yous, I'd like to thank Amanda back here for bringing Vendetta Violent to life since the very start of our show. Thank you very much for tolerating me.
Yeah, we got to meet Vendetta Violent herself. That was pretty exciting. Origins has been really fun. Listeners will know that I went to Gen Con, was my first convention last year in August. That was pretty exciting also, but Origins is everything that everybody said it would be. It's way more relaxed, and I think a lot of fun I've been having. So speaking of those types of things, talking about Origins in general, let's talk about
news today.
It was quiet. It was quiet last episode. I'm just not going to mess with it. This is the news segment, for those who didn't hear. The tarot deck, that's what I was going to talk about in the news, is the tarot deck. They released, I think we thought they were going to release a full tarot deck, but they have like a newer version of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's officially released yet.
No.
Not other than here.
Yeah.
Right. Have you seen the tarot deck, Cassie?
I've seen the prints on it, but I've not seen the actual deck. Joel has one, though. Maybe I'll sneak it off his desk from upstairs at some point. But Nick Van had all the cool printouts that was super exciting.
There's a tarot deck.
Hey, we got one.
Hey, yeah, for people, podcast listeners at home and
Thank you,
on
Eric
YouTube.
DeMage.
Yeah, the box is really nice. I was able to talk Joel into opening his so I could check it out. And the card quality is also slightly improved from the Gen Con release.
Yeah, I think it seemed like the biggest improvement was the box. Do you know, so they say that it's not released, it's not like the official release. What else is changing about it?
Yeah, who knows?
Do we know?
I think it's just maybe not ready for mass production yet. Who knows? It's all, the only thing we all know is that it is not fully released. No matter what anybody says, they're liars.
Right. So we're going to bring up one more big news announcement that we want to make before we go on to the rest of the show and do some Q&A and everything. Really, we want to focus on, we're here at Origins. We've got people here. We want to talk to people and answer some questions maybe that people have. We love doing Q&A on the show. So if you think of some things that you either want to ask us about Shadowrun in general, our opinions about things, or just us about the shows that we do, just anything really, we'll answer questions from you guys. But first thing that we want to do before that is to close out our news segment. Something that we want to announce. How many of you guys are aware of the Shadowcasters Network Discord server that we have? Yeah, so me and Damien started a Shadowcasters Network Discord that people listening at home will know that we've talked about that in the past. And the whole purpose, it's been almost maybe more than 6 months now, Damien?
Yeah, I'd say probably about then, since since it's been the actual Shadowcasters Network Discord, and it changed from originally being the Violent Life Discord. I think it's only been about 4 months or so, really. It's still rather fresh, but...
Yeah. One of the reasons that we did that, though, that a lot of people might not be aware of, is, we were trying to create a community and everything. That was what we were going for, but we were kind of testing the waters, right, for what the public's interest was about, creating a community around content creators in the world of Shadowrun, right?
Yeah, that was it. That was exactly it. And just being able to have a place where we can kind of lift everybody up that wanted to do shows and create content. Let people talk to people who are making shows. Right.
So the waters that we were testing were about this idea of a network in general. And so that's what we've done, right? Me, Cliff, Damien, Opti was going to be here. He couldn't. The four of us actually have been having some meetings lately, and we got together and we decided that we wanted to create a full-blown Shadowcasters network, a network of content creators who are committed to bringing high-quality, curated Shadowrun content to people, a place where they can go to find these really good shows. And we've decided to do that. Thank you, Oz.
Just talk really enthusiastically.
Yeah, so we've done that. Kind of what our mission with that is we love Shadowrun, we love gaming in general, and we think that we want to do that create this content and bring it to you guys in a better way. I mean, not that it's necessarily bad, but you know, like we have a lot of ideas and things to do. Cliff, why don't you tell them about one of the really exciting things that we want to do with the network that is not necessarily related to podcasts and YouTube channels that you guys all listen to and love, and we love doing them, but this new thing that we want to do.
So this is the big one I get to talk about?
Yeah, let's just start with the big thing. Yeah.
Throw it right out there.
All right. So one of the things we're going to be offering and doing, we're going to be working on some of the logistics specifically. It'll involve Discord and Roll20 to some way, I'm sure, but what we're going to be doing is creating an online Shadowrun missions venue. So you'll be able to play official Shadowrun missions online with the games that we set up with that will be run by Catalyst demo team agents. I've reached out to a number of them. Quite a few of them are in this room. So thank you very much for agreeing to do that. And we'll eventually be recruiting more for that. And that is going to be awesome. I'm super excited about it. You'll be able to take the characters you've been playing at conventions and play them online missions on our Shadowcasters venue for that, and take all the Carmen experience points. It'll be interchangeable, just full official Shadowrun missions.
Right. How many
year-round?
Year-long convention.
How many of you guys have characters? Yes.
And I must say, if I could do a little bit of, I was failing with my shout-outs here. Another person who's in this room is Hayes, who has written the Exploding Dice app, or bot, on Discord, which is super handy for playing Shadowrun, Earth Dawn, and Middle-earth.
Yeah.
And he has a Patreon, so you should go there and give him money.
Absolutely. So how many of you guys are playing missions characters or have missions characters that you've been building up over multiple conventions or seasons? Yeah, some of you definitely, right? And you've got to at least this is the way that I felt. You create this character and you got to wait until some sort of convention like Origins or Gen Con.
Unless you're lucky and have a nice fire base nearby.
Yeah, exactly. And not everybody does. Not a lot of people do. I know that I don't have a good place at home to play it, so I end up doing this. And then it's an excruciating wait after Gen Con for if you want to carry that over. So that was one thing that I'm really excited about, I think, is just for the opportunity for people to be able to not just play at their convenience. Not everybody can go to Gen Con and Origins, but be able to participate in this growing, changing campaign world that Catalyst creates for Shadowrun. So that's exciting.
Yeah, we'll have more announcements for that coming forward. We are going to roll it out very carefully to make sure that it goes over very well and everything works fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a bit of a closed alpha stage, and after that we'll be doing a bit of a closed beta. Neither of those will actually characters will actually be able to be taken into other missions play at that point, because the big restriction on running missions is it has to be open to the public. So once we're happy with our closed beta, then we'll do an open beta where people will be able to jump in, and anybody who wants can kind of jump in and play. Well, actually, we'll limit in some way, maybe. We're still deciding on a few details here. I don't want to get Bobby an aneurysm here.
No, there are definitely some logistics that we have to work out, but that's the basic idea about the Shadowrun Missions Online is kind of our working title for that right now. Some other really exciting things that we want to do with the network is not just have different shows. One I can actually officially announce, because we just talked about it at dinner, and he agreed that he would get involved with us crazy people up here. But if you guys are familiar with the Twitch show Join the Anarchy, are any of you guys familiar with that? Yeah, it's an amazing Twitch show we've talked about many times on on this show, and where Oz. He runs those games with his cast of characters, and it's just Shadowrun Anarchy on Twitch, and they agreed to partner with our network, so we're really excited about that. There's opportunity for us to potentially reach out to other people and have them partner with us, but again, one of the reasons that we have the Shadowcasters Network Discord server is that's something we're really passionate about, is finding ways, just in general, to support the Shadowrun creator community. We have a firm belief that, or at least, we all do that, a rising tide raises all ships. So everyone should be making Shadowrun content. And that's what the Discord is really all about. So for all of you guys out there should be making actual plays, and get onto our Discord if you're not already, and talk to us, and we can figure out how to get you in a more visible way out there if you'd like to do that. So we also just launched so we do have a website, Shadowcasters.network, if you want to go check it out. It's up there now.
Just launched.
Yeah, I'm not a web designer by training, but I did design this website, so go easy on me.
The website looks really good.
Thank you. But there is right now there is a merchandise store on there with merchandise from our shows. I know some fans of our various shows, like the Arcology Podcast, Violent Life Podcast. People want to be able to get stuff. That stuff. I'm actually wearing one right now. It's a Complex Action T-shirt with all of my GM Screen guys on it. So you can get this shirt. I have somewhere. Oh, I have a Sixth World Podcast hat. I can't put it on over these headphones, but you can get this on there. There's T-shirts and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to get stuff, we got that. We'll have more stuff coming to that store. Right now, we just have an initial offering, but keep checking it out. We'll tell people about it.
It's going to be really exciting. We'll be curating some interesting and unique products on there for you as well.
Right. I don't want to spend the entire evening talking about this because I want to get to some questions. But a couple more things that I definitely am excited about is it's not just about our shows and media. It's not even just about the online venue for Shadowrun missions. Even though we're really excited about that. One of the other things we want to have a whole suite of things to help players and GMs just play games. We're starting with Shadowrun, of course, because that's what we know the best, right? But we're going to branch out to other games. We want to have like guides for GMs. We want to have cheat sheets. I have some very very ambitious goals to have some web apps that we have in there. Maybe I'll have to hit Hayes up to help me with that.
Definitely put them on the spot.
But some web apps for I have this idea for like NPC creators, or even some maybe some weird theory crafting tools that I've got rolling around in my brain. But our website is a place that would be. So that's stuff we want to do. Last thing I want to mention is something that we're really excited about. So this whole network thing. I don't like to talk about business, right? But it does. It takes resources to set up, so we have to have some initial kind of like starting costs, right? We thought about going the Patreon route and decided that we already all have Patreons. Yeah. Everybody's doing Patreon. I don't want to give everybody another Patreon to try to subscribe to. Just keep supporting your creators that you already support. We thought about like Kickstarter, but I kind of hate Kickstarter. And so we're just doing sort of an old school fundraiser. We've got it set up with a service. You can actually go on the Shadowcasters Network website right now. Again, shadowcasters.network. There's a little widget on the side there. You can check out our fundraiser page. And it's just asking people, it's going to run until Gen Con. We've got some goals on there, a goal on there for getting up and running. And it's just a way for us to ask people for help to get us up and running for the year. It's not a whole lot that we need, but just stuff like hosting services and stuff like that. But we're doing that. We've offered some perks too to help you guys out. First of all, one of them is on there that you people a perk at a certain level. I don't know them off the top of my head right now. I did write them, but I'm stressed.
I'm so stressed out right now.
Yeah. If you want, Cliff talked about beta testing the Shadowrun Missions online venue. There is a level on there. It's decently low. That if you do that, you'll be guaranteed a beta testing access at that level. When it's in the closed beta, you'll be invited to that. There's one on there that we just decided to throw it on there. I don't know if anybody's going to do it, but wouldn't it be fun if they did? We thought I'd seen other people do it before. If you're at Gen Con and you really want to help support the show and you really want to have dinner with the Shadowcasters, then there's one on there that if you want to help us out a bunch, then you can get a ticket to a private dinner with us Maybe nobody will do that, but whatever. I don't really understand why anybody would want to, but
We'll just crash dinner.
yeah. But that's on there. Also, one thing that Cliff came up with that I'm really excited about, something maybe you can tell him about it. We're calling it, for fans of the Arcology podcast, Actual Play. We're calling it Kill Maverick. Right?
Yeah,
Before we get into that, I should also say that, because this is important, we're going to be doing a
Stream.
Yeah, on July 21st, starting on July 21st, we're going to be doing a 36-hour streamathon. 36 hours of live streaming content on our Shadowcasters Network Twitch channel that we just set up. And it's right in the middle of this fundraiser we're doing. It's like an old school telethon. We're going to be on there doing all sorts of cool stuff. And one of them is this Kill Maverick event that we want to do. I see Hayes over there smiling. So tell them, what are we asking people to do?
What we're going to do is have people bring a character, and they'll log in and play online. I'll run the game. Maverick will be there in some sort of unusual arena-like environment or urban situation with all of his tricks ready to go to murder anybody who steps in and try to take him down. It's going to be non-canon, so if anybody actually does kill Maverick, he won't be dead. There's going to be some rules involved. I'll work out the details of what kind of character you get to bring to the table and what sort of resources you might have. And the one rule I know is... the whole duster trick, I can only do that once, so nobody's allowed to burn edge. But other than that,
Right.
it should be a fun event. And if we get enough people, I'd really love to do it with Maverick having to face teams of people at a time.
Right. So details are going to be forthcoming about like what kind of character you can bring. The one thing we do know is that, again, that's associated with one of the perks of this fundraiser. If you want to be guaranteed to be able to get a shot at Maverick, then you can go on there and do that. Now, it is a decent perk on there, but Damien convinced me of a really good idea, which was that if you don't have the opportunity to do that, but you're listening to the live stream, we're going to set up probably during the live stream and encourage you to come and watch anyway. We might have like a raffled spot to be able to come and do that.
Some raffled shots at taking down Maverick.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of the details I've just decided on for the rules of bringing the character in, to keep it real simple, any mission's legal character.
There you go.
Right out the gate or with 300 karma. Anything that happens to you, of course, isn't canon in missions. So if you die or burn edge to live, well, you can't burn edge. But so if you die, your character won't stay dead necessarily, and you will die.
Yeah, it's like
You're all gonna die.
Maverick.
Try to kill him for
Francis thinks he can pull it off here, but I don't know.
I have
see what you
faith in
got.
Francis. You can do it, man.
Yeah, let's see what you got, Francis. So that, like I said, the fundraiser's starting now. It's actually set up on there. You can go there and check it out. It'll be running it through. I think I set it up to run through Gen Con. That would make sense, so that I can try to drum it up at the last minute there. But I don't think I did it right before Gen Con starts. So that's that. Again, we've got other events that we want to do during this live stream. We're of course going to probably end up doing at least one live Shadowrun game. I think we talked about the idea of, I don't know if you still want to do it. You mentioned to me playing out some sort of scene from the Arcology podcast, Actual Play.
Oh, there was this one time recently where the runners who now work for Shiawase were assigned to attend a sensitivity training session. And I thought that would be amazing to have them play in the sensitivity training session with Bobby playing the corporate representative.
That'd be fun. I told him that I liked that idea. But it's not just going to be Shadowrun stuff, although we want to do Anarchy. But I had the great idea of doing running a Paranoia game. Would be really fun on Twitch.
I've yet to play Paranoia.
Well, Cliff is definitely going to be playing Paranoia with us, Damien as well. Cassie's not 100%, I don't think yet, that you'll be able to GM it.
I'll GM it depending on the day. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right.
We will totally go into do some troubleshoot testing for the what is it? The Horizon. What's the program for Horizon?
Oh.
Yeah, the consensus. We're going to be troubleshooters fixing program bugs in the consensus. Tell me that's not Alpha Complex.
That'd be good. I just talked Oz at dinner into playing Paranoia with us as well, so he'll be there.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. I think he's got the rules on me too for the new one, so we'll do that. We'll probably do that once it's a D6 system. We're all more familiar about adding attributes and skills together.
Right.
So yeah, that'll be good.
We're not just going to be streaming role-playing games. Me and Damien, I convinced Damien to play like Overwatch with me. I want to play some Overwatch online with Damien. Damien's like a super Overwatch fanatic or something.
No, he isn't.
I'm trying to set up really high expectations.
Can we do high donors, like get into a Don't Starve game and we just like slowly eliminate people?
We have some spots open for...
I will play Don't Starve for 12 hours. I have done so in last month.
Yeah, I think that's what you're doing every time I log into Discord. The other thing that me and Damien want to do, and then we'll start to wrap this discussion, this part of the discussion up, and move on to Q&A. Damien and I had a fun idea. I thought of. Do any of you guys remember I used to do a contribution to the Arcology podcast called Dear Handy? Does anybody remember that? Yeah, it was a call-in kind of thing. It was a fake call-in thing. The whole conceit, the whole like joke was that Handy was this terrible advice giver, and people, Shadowrunners and other people in Sixth World were calling into a radio show and asking for advice. So me and Damien had an idea. Wouldn't it be funny if we did like an hour or two of actual people calling in to the live stream in character asking for advice, and I would be Handy and he would play Payday from our actual play, so it would just be terrible advice and just this asshole like super surly grumpy asshole.
Me having to deal with this idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so we thought that would be, the idiots are the ones that are calling in probably, don't you think? Maybe that's how we discourage people. We shouldn't say that.
Only if you can get like Aeon in like the Twitch chat or something, or wherever you're doing this, right? Giving people legit answers, right?
Lecturing Payday.
Yeah. That would be wonderful. Yeah, maybe we can convince Courtney to do that. It's not a spoiler anymore, is it? Isn't it like a 2-week rule for that?
It's not a spoiler anymore.
Yeah, Eon is Courtney Vox from the Arcology podcast. So. We'll have to get her to do that. So yeah, we'll have all sorts of fun stuff for that. We'll have more details coming. We're going to have giveaways. I know that we're going to give away like stickers, stuff like that. Books we have talked about giving away.
Yeah, I've got my library of hard copy Shadowrun books, which is mostly 3rd edition stuff. They are all well-loved and used books. We are paring down our possessions at home. So I've decided that what better way to get rid of those than to use them as rewards.
Will you sign them first?
Sure. I don't know. I didn't write any of them. Maybe I don't know. I feel weird about signing a book.
If you win it and you want him to sign it, he will.
I will sign it if you want me to sign it.
I didn't write
That's
any
fair,
of this.
I guess.
Here's my signature.
I've got some. I don't know if anybody's going to want this, but I'll send it to you anyway. I have this big case full of every single GM screen slide I've ever drawn. And I thought I would go through it and pick out some and give those away. Just send you literally the original, and because I don't need those. Why am I keeping them?
This is what you need to do, is when we've actually finally written everything that could ever be covered in any of these books, you need to do one long slideshow with no text of just all of them together.
Yeah. The master rule
that'll
book.
be the master GM screen.
Yeah. So I'm going to give away those. I also have, I fell to, it was like, what do you call that? It was an impulse buy at Gen Con. I bought the Rigger 5, the special hardback edition, with the red and the gold. I bought that, and ever since I brought it home from Gen Con, I have not opened it. So I figure, why not give it to someone who might actually open it? So I'm going to try to give that away too at some point during the stream. But anyway, check out that. It's going to be July 21st. We'll be announcing exactly when it's going to start, and a schedule of events that we're going to be doing will be coming up and everything, all that.
Shadowcasters.network.
Yeah, that's the website. Go there now. There's stuff to check out. Please fill out the contact form if you find the website is broken. Because I promise it's broken somewhere, and I need someone to find it. But yeah. So that's that. The Shadowcasters Network, we're really excited about that. But let's move on to Q&A. I think I have some music I usually play. Is that music?
Yeah, let's have it.
Yeah, let's... I can hear that. Can you guys hear that?
I can't hear that.
Oh, well, as long as our podcast listeners can hear it.
Unbelievable.
So we have to answer one question that was sent to us, and then we'll get to you guys, because it was from a patron. What did you just say to me?
Is it still running?
You talking about the music?
I just want to make your music sound.
Music's still running. Yes, the
Okay.
music's still running. Thank you. We're doing it live. For those listening at home and for everybody here, we do Q&A on every episode, and we like to take questions from our listeners. We take those on sixworldpodcast.com is our website. There's a form you can fill out there if you want to answer or ask us some questions that we would answer and our guests. And also at Twitter, you could tweet us questions at 6 World Podcast. So do that for us. Our question today comes from Patreon patron Keith King. He says, "Hi, Cassie and Bobby. I think given how often that we chat, because he asks us all sorts of questions, I think we can be on a first name basis for now." I'm okay with that. Are you?
Yeah, I love Keith. Thank you so much, man.
Keith, he says, "Firstly, given that you will probably see them this week, can you please pass on a high five to those two other dead set legends of the SR community, Cliff and Opti, for me?"
I was gonna have a discussion with you beforehand to cross out Opti and put Damien.
No, I kind of love that Damien was left out.
Yeah. I'm not there.
Damien, you can stand in for Opti.
You piece of dreck.
In 2 weeks, there'll be a personal apology from Keith to Damien in our next question.
Yeah, you'll get an apology for
My
from
mustache is nowhere near as mighty or visible.
That's fair.
So his question is, you'll be able to help answer this question. It's about riggers.
You want me to boil it down?
Oh, no, I'm going to go through it.
I just play a rigger on TV.
Okay, to jump into a rig... why don't you boil it down, Cassie? You probably have thought about this.
His question is very specifically for core. We realize there are kind of some ways to do this outside of core, but he very much wanted to know about core. And it is whether or not there is a way for just a rigger, plain yield rigger, to do the Matrix jump-in action, where you can basically jump into someone else's zone and hijack it, right? He lists out everything you need. You need rigger adaptation on the drone, and you need control rig for yourself, and you need 3 marks on it. And then you would normally have to do an electronic warfare plus logic, limited by data processing versus willpower and firewall test, and then you could jump into the device. The downside is there's really no way in core for a core rigger to get marks by themselves, right? They can't have it in a sleeves attribute. There's ways to get in a sleeves attribute and data trails and stuff, but he wanted to know if there's a way to do it, and there's really not. Me and Cliff both kind of talked about this beforehand to make sure if we could think of anything.
The short answer is no, but.
Now, I know what you guys are probably raising your hand for, whether or not you can get the Decker to do... Okay, we've got another idea.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, yes. So... that's even better. Yeah, get a con skill claiming to be tech support, and you need them to give you ownership of the device. That's their invite marks. Yeah. So yeah, some people have said, and it was apparently controversial when he found it on the forums on whether you could get the Decker to spoof command, invite marks, and get them that way. And if your GM wants to let you do that, and that fits the scenario, maybe. But that's kind of a long about Ray, and it's really not viable in combat or anything.
I think
some GMs are like, no, that's not gonna.
I might be rusty on this, but I think you actually need to be the owner of a device to use the invite marks action. Not 3 marks, but be the owner.
You have to be the owner. Spoof command, actually, you're pretending to be the owner, so there's kind of a roundabout way on whether you could do it. But anyway, back to the original question, it's whether a rigger kind of by themselves could do it, and there's no unfortunate way in core.
Yeah, my solution is the rigger would have to also be able to afford a cyber deck.
Yeah. You could-
And you can only have one persona running at a time, so if you were running an RCC, you'd have to reboot it. That said, you can run an RCC separately and not run a persona on it and have it run your drones, and then you as a rigger could be running your cyber deck, put marks on stuff and jump in, but not many riggers can afford a cyber deck and the stuff they need out of the core book. So really, I highly recommend Keith, just include data trails. Stick a sleaze or attack module on there, use Edge to push the limit. At least that's my...
And the hard part, you're really going to have to push the limits probably with the go big or go home style and get all three at once, so you're kind of spending a lot of edge to do it. I like the con check the best. I definitely get the face pretend to be tech support and your problem is solved.
Definitely. I like that. But yeah, short answer, Keith, I guess, is there's not a good way to do it. I mean, not maybe in the way that you're thinking. You just have to be tricky about it.
Yeah, and when I read over it, it seems very rules intended. It's meant to be kind of a way for a decker or maybe a decker rigger hybrid to kind of hijack somebody's drone. It is what it is.
Just go buy yourself a drone, you cheap bastard.
Yeah, that was really someone else's answer as well. Just go buy a drone.
I think Francis has an idea.
You got input, Francis? What are you thinking?
Francis, if you want to, because we're gonna have question people come up here anyway. Actually, well, just speak up. No, never mind. We don't want to talk to you right now. Just speak up. Be loud.
An RCC isn't necessary for a rigger, so there's no reason why you can't have a control rig in a deck and just ignore the whole drone shenanigans. Okay, that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah, so that was one of the things Cliff did bring up too. If especially if you're like more the decker who's doing some rigging, it's a really good way. Or if you want to be a rigger who
for our podcast listeners, restate what
If you're just going for a vehicle to show your team around, you've got one plan, you need to protect it. Having a cyber deck is the best way of doing that, and you jack straight in, so you don't need anything but a control rig and a device to run it.
Right.
Yeah. So his answer basically is you as a rigger don't actually need a control rig. You can operate drones and
You need a control rig.
Sorry, not the controller. The RCC. I always get those two screwed. Yes, the RCC. And you're right, because like my backup character is going to be a rigger who's doing more of it that style. So that is an option.
My first character that I ever played in Shadowrun 5th Edition was Shade, who I kind of styled as a rigger, decker, street samurai. Primarily decker, but he had a control rig. No RCC, but I wanted to have the option to be able to hack drones and jump into them. But again, that character is primarily a decker with a little bit of rigging. No drones, just really good with a bike.
Right.
Payday would hate all of this.
So let's
that's a good question. We gonna skip the questions. We got more.
Well, we're gonna go to another question. We're gonna go to another question. So that was the only question that we're gonna answer from. Well, so we want to get questions from you guys. So if you've got a question, raise your hand and I'll call on you to come up, and you can use Damien's microphone.
Thank you.
It's not on a stand.
Well, okay, Cliff's, yeah, because he's. But either way, anybody got any questions they want to ask us?
I won't lie, this is a more intimidating room, really, because you guys play Shadowrun probably more than I do.
Yeah,
or
no,
for
I'm
longer,
scared of the
at
question we're
least.
gonna give me. Tell me your name and what's your question?
So I'm Dan Bullier, and I'm curious, now that you guys are kind of even enmeshing the network more and more, are we going to see more interactivity between the podcasts as well? Things like maybe cameos from characters in the actual plays or other things like that where we see you guys cooperating even more and more in different ways that is kind of fun and interesting for fans of one podcast or another.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you, Dan, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. And I have always thought that that's a really cool idea, and we, to some extent, we do that already, don't we? Not on all the shows, but like I've been on Redmond Born. I've been on Join the Anarchy. All of us have really been on Join the Anarchy.
There's a lot of cross-pollination, but I mean, anything's possible as far as just doing like crossover, one-off stuff. I mean, and definitely the network makes that more possible.
To more directly answer your question, Dan, that is one of our goals, is to make collaboration in general easier for us. Because by forming this kind of formal network, it's kind of like we're incentivizing ourselves to cooperate. Sometimes it's easier than others to do that. The Arcology podcast, for example, it's not. I mean, maybe I shouldn't speak for Cliff, but it seems to me like it'd be harder to inject like guest stars there, but maybe not.
Like how far are you guys behind right now? What you guys are actually playing?
2 or 3 months at this point.
That's not bad.
Yeah, you guys are closing the gap.
Yeah, we have closed the gap and we started doing the shorter episodes, but
Yeah. So that's definitely something we want to do. Yeah. Anybody else? Come on, questions. You can ask us about Shadowrun in general, rules questions maybe. Cassie loves those. Or just about us.
Eric Dimash.
Ooh, the famous.
Infamous. No longer the favorite fan of Shadowrunners since I
He's still my
kicked a
favorite
few
fan.
people off of the Shadowcasters Network.
All right, tell us
He's
your
the
name.
moderator now.
Tell us your name and then give us your question and then go sit down.
Eric DeMay. And the question is, if I want a blitz to go first in initiative, do I have to declare it as I roll, or can I roll initiative and say, that's too damn low, I'm going to spend an edge to blitz?
We got to clarify some terminology first. If you want to go first, you normally seize the initiative.
Okay, I'm sorry. Seize the initiative.
Okay.
Yeah, there we
So in blitzing is when you roll 5 dice instead of what your former pool is.
So,
And
anyway,
you
Schooled.
seize the initiative.
Yeah, you can't.
Can I declare in the middle after I've already rolled my initiative for the first time, or do I have to declare it before I roll my initiative?
That's a good question. And luckily we got a room full of GMs because I feel like this is really much GM fiat.
yeah, I think it's a GM call. to
Yeah.
me. I don't think the rules are clearly say one or the other. I would allow it.
We got a lot of
But we got some thumbs down.
here.
Yeah,
All
we got
thumbs
some
down.
thumbs down. Yeah.
The Catalyst demo team says no.
Thumbs down.
So don't try to pull it at Hayes,
I would
RJ's,
say-
or Paul's table.
Yeah, I would say it's probably better etiquette to
you were doing
declare
thumbs down
before
too?
you roll.
Okay, or Francis's table.
And actually,
it?
really, in an in-person game, you probably won't see the roll beforehand. But I don't know. I use a lot of macros and play online, and I tend to be like trying to roll initiative for 5 different NPCs or whatever before it gets around to the players. I usually miss what they've told me. So, I think it's definitely better etiquette to declare it before you see kind of where you're going. But
Here's the thing, though. I mean, you can use Edge to re-roll after you roll on other tests. And there's nothing in the rules that say you really can't do it. I just
it specifically says
I feel
you
like
can't
Edge
do it.
is something somebody spends Edge. They're going to do something cool and probably over the top. I'm inclined to allow it, but yeah, the roll
Yeah.
still matters for tie-breaking purposes if multiple Caesars are
Yeah, I can
seizing.
see the kind of the problem you might run into where you roll initiative, you realize you're going last, and only then do you seize just because you realize you got a really bad roll. But I would say it probably depends kind of on what your table is, and obviously your GM's opinion is a big one. I tend to be too unorganized to want to declare actions before we do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You mentioned as a demo agent, he's more likely to kind of care about that kind of order of operations versus in your home game, you're laughing with
Sure.
your friends at home, and it's true.
That's a good point. Another question? We could do this all night, guys. So don't be shy.
I'm old and want to go to bed. Please let's not do it all night.
No,
I'm
just
many
joking.
more hours though. Many more hours.
But at least to fill up the show. One thing that I don't know where I was going with that.
Excellent.
Going nowhere.
Well played.
We could just we could just we've got people waving arms and doing stuff, so it confuses me. Yeah.
So we know they make you guys sign like important things that we're not. But where are we going after Chicago? Come on.
I think.
Do we know?
Tokyo.
We are Neo Tokyo.
I was
That's
about to say, I
fantastic.
think we already know that, but I know that I signed an NDA at one point, so someone might have told me in confidence.
I'd
and
heard that, but I didn't know if it was like known. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, Neo Tokyo. That's exciting. Isn't there's a podcast out there that handles our actual play that handles Neo Tokyo? I think.
So.
I know of one that did it
there's one
briefly.
for Hong Kong for sure. I don't know if there's one for Neo Tokyo or not.
I'm probably thinking of Hong Kong.
I'm thinking of GM Glenish. What's his?
They haven't put out an episode
Geek
on.
the Mage.
Yes, Geek the Mage. They did a very brief
That's what it
campaign
was.
that in Neo Tokyo that was very brief.
That's what it was then.
I'm really super excited to go globe hopping. Right, so
Yeah. Damien, you played some Shadowrun today, didn't you?
I did.
You got
Yes, I did.
you got a fun story from it?
I'm just playing a jerk character. I'm just gonna be. I'm that guy at the table. I did pull a Batman stunt with a grappling hook though, jumping off of a roof and and essentially sliding down.
Is that
50 stories of a building?
That's amazing. Is that an exotic ranged weapon?
It is. Yeah.
Do you have the skill, or did you?
I didn't, but I had a lot of agility and edge.
Can you? Wow.
And I broke the limit, and I got like 9 successes. So, yeah, I don't recommend doing that at home.
Right.
I do recommend most characters just get a point of exotic range weapons grapple gun. It does come in handy from time to time.
I'm going to be playing with Damien tomorrow with the same character.
Yep,
I'm assuming you're going to be using the same
Me
character.
and my wife are both these ex-Halloweener merc scum.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm playing a Southern Belle face with she's going to be a lot of fun. She's from Charleston.
Yeah, kind of based off of Eric Damage's Scorch.
Yes,
character.
absolutely.
Yes.
If you listen to the actual play, I've played her a couple of times, and it inspired me to make this Southern Belle face who's definitely likes using pistols as well, but she's a seductress.
Can't wait to see you seducing.
Sign up for that game.
I don't know. You're fantastic at the improv, and you've made out with a murderous elf in a closet before, so I think you got this.
Cassie loves telling this story.
I do like telling that story because he plays all those horrible sound bites from our Join the Anarchy game.
You got to give me back somehow, right?
Yeah.
We've got another question, so you can't tell the story now.
All right.
I think since you guys thought that Damien looks like a professional wrestler, we need to hear his Matt Rath impersonation.
Matt Rath.
Matt Rath.
You know Matt Rath. He's from Chicago.
He always talks when he talks instead of using pronouns, he substitutes his own full name, Matt Rath.
Man, I got no idea. That's the Canadian in me showing there. No clue.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to disappoint.
All right, I think we should have Hayes come up and do his Matt Rath impression.
Yeah. Just fill in.
Let's
Here
do
it comes. Here it comes. Let's just pretend this was me.
So, Hayes, everybody, from the Arcology actual play.
Matt Rath doesn't know what you're talking about. Matt Rath is up here to talk to you. Because there are many things that Matt Rath knows to talk about, but Matt Rath is his favorite subject.
Round of applause. Yeah, Matt Rath is from 2070s Chicago.
I think Francis was waving before. Did you want to come up and? Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that happened in Francis's game. He let me pull that off.
Yeah. So, if we don't have any more questions, I guess we'll wrap up the show. But if you have any last minute questions, come on, please. We have time. We don't have to wrap up, but do you have any? Have you played any Shadowrun, Cliff? I don't think you have you?
I did.
Hayes has got
I
one.
played Shadowrun yesterday and had a great time. It was the first mission of the new season, and it was a lovely bug hunt. And I was playing HQ, my British combat mage with a horrible British accent. My fun moment from the beginning of that was when, the run itself, you're hired to go rescue a bunch of people who are like actual big name contacts in Chicago. And one of the people was like, I've got all those at like loyalty 4 or 5 of my characters. He's like, I'll do it for free. And otherwise, yeah, me too. My character's like, says, shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't go up to you when you're shooting your gun and go waving it around to make you miss your aim. And that's what you're doing here. I'm the face. I do the negotiating. You need to stop undercutting me and just shut the frag up. And just everybody roared and laughed. It was a good time.
That's great.
So that's what we did too, and there were some dead contacts at the end of that run. Not all of them made it out.
We saved all but one, so we did pretty good. And the one that we didn't save was the one that nobody actually gave a dreck about. So
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Hayes, you had a question.
Yeah, it's kind of a podcaster process question. I'm
Yes.
curious, seeing you guys do it live here. My question is, what does it take for you guys as producers of content to do all the editing and get everything how you like it before you put it out for download for everybody? What's that process like for you guys? What goes into it?
That's a great question, Hayes. Thank you. I'll start because I'm probably have the shortest answer, which is I do almost nothing. I do. That's not fair. I do a lot of setup and planning because I'm a stay-at-home dad. Some of you might know, and so my time is very precious. And there are certain times of the day where it's easier to do certain things than other things. Editing, I prefer to. Basically, it's easier for me to plan a podcast during the day than it is for me to do anything else because kids are around. I can. It's just a lot of thinking and maybe quick note taking and jotting stuff down. And so I spend a lot of time preparing ahead of time, setting up equipment and cameras and live streaming it. Part of the reason I'm able to live stream it is because I take great effort to make it so that I'm doing it in what's called a live to hard drive style. So I'm doing the whole thing like we're doing here, and it's basically in its raw form going to go onto my hard drive, and I'm just going to do some little post-processing things with levels and making everything sound volume-wise okay, and then I just throw it straight up onto the podcast feed. But so for me, it's simple. I just turn on some cameras and I've done a lot of setup. But Damien, I know, does a lot.
Oh man, yeah. For me, it becomes very complicated because there's a lot of tips and tricks you can do to take some shortcuts. There's a tool called Truncate Silence, which is awesome because you can just take everything that you've got and just remove all of the giant silent dead spots. But when
it's really the only thing I use Audacity for, and it's totally worth it for that.
But when you're doing an audio drama, execution is important in a narrative and such. And sometimes you'll talk slower, and sometimes there is more space that's needed. So I have to hand edit all of the silent spots and trim everything down to sound proper.
Yeah.
It takes a while, and then when I'm putting together things from voice actors that are across the country, maybe on the other side of the world, trying to make that sound like it all belongs in the same recording can get awkward and get tough.
Yeah. Cliff?
Yeah, for me, I guess it depends on whether it's the actual play or the regular episode. Regular episode, we always write up notes for that, just a real simple outline type thing. And we record directly into a program called Studio One, which is a really nice DAW music software program. And we just record to that. And I'll often if something happens that's distracting, I'll stop it and then start the recording again. So I have a very clear point to find in the editing. I used to do a fair bit less, but now I've been getting a little bit more detail and going through and listening and trying to cut down and edit out some of the ums and the ahs and other noises that I've previously just kind of left in the past and not worried about because I just want to step up my game a little bit. For the actual play, we record that originally in TeamSpeak. We'll soon be getting to the episodes where we've recorded through Discord, and I'm going to be I'm looking forward to those because that'll allow me to do some specific level adjusting on. So if one person's a little bit quieter than the others, I can do a little bit more control with that. There's a type of plugin, or not necessarily a plugin, but audio effect that I think everyone who's interested in podcasting should learn about and know how to use well, and that's called compression. And what that does is it turns up the quieter parts and turns down the louder parts. Right. My biggest pet peeve about podcasts is if I listen to a podcast that is really quiet, then suddenly loud. So if I'm listening in my car or something, I got to turn it way up, and then all of a sudden people laugh, and my eardrums are painful at that point. So I think it's really important. I think it's more important for a podcast to have consistent audio levels than to have excellent audio quality, though it's good to have both.
Yeah. And now we've got sound effects in the whole mix now, too. I know you've been experimenting with them as well.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of those through freesound.org. It's a website where people can just go on there and post up audio recordings they've made. That's where I get most of what I found. And I tend to search for them. You can search for whatever license they posted it under. So I like to narrow my search to the Creative Commons 0 licenses, so I can just download the files and use them without having to worry about any copyright or licensing stuff.
Yeah.
And you talked about compression. Is that a program? Do you have a program particularly use that?
Oh, compression is it's a more general. It's an audio effect, like delay is an audio effect or reverb.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Cassie, I don't want to leave Cassie out because whereas we do a lot of, well, hold on, Cassie, don't undersell yourself. Whereas we do a lot of like technical, like audio and video stuff and everything. Cassie, this show wouldn't happen without Cassie. Cassie's like my researcher and everything regarding that. Anytime we get questions, for example, I send it to Cassie and I say, Cassie, I need you to answer this.
You and me, we don't know anything.
Yeah,
we really don't.
Anytime. Well, when we're doing special topic episodes, also like the aquacology episode or something like that, I always say, Cassie, I'm gonna need because I'm so busy all the time with kids and other stuff. I'm always like, I'm not gonna have time to read this, Cassie. You need to do all the research for me and give me page numbers, and I'll just look at it.
I have a very slow goal to read every Shadowrun book I can find. And I've started with 5th edition. I'm going down them. So when we find something really neat, I tend to start taking notes. And then I put those notes on the show notes so Bobby can cheat and just go look at sections instead of trying to find out where this material is. And I actually asked these guys all one time if, like, what they would give me if I made an actual Shadowrun index that just indicated where books would be under certain topics. I think I got promised a soda and maybe $5. I think. Only it's going to take like 30 years of content to go through and dozens of them. I mean,
it'll happen.
I don't know if that'll happen.
I don't think the $5 is coming.
Yeah, I don't think the $5. Yeah, because I think it was him who promised me $5, and Cliff's looking very. I'm not
I think
sure
I said I'd give you $5. Yeah, I'd give you $5.
Give me $5.
There we go. We got $5
Vance
on the
offered me a
table.
soda, so I'm good.
I think Eric will give you $5.
I was going to try to outsource this to Eric, so don't offer him money.
Yeah, if you have a question, by the way, don't bother raising your hand. Just come up here and wait in line or something.
And I've got a bunch of free crap on the table over there, so if anybody wants any of that, take my stuff.
Eric DeMage, what's your question?
One more rule question. This goes way back to 1st edition when I was taught Shadowrun by a guy who was a graduate student in string physics from Cambridge University. And he explained stim patches to me like this. It's a patch, it's got drugs in it, and it's got little needles. You like rip the backing off and you slap it on somebody's bare skin, and the drugs take effect. No muss, no fuss, unless of course they're in a coma for some other reason, and you see, oh, he's not waking up, and you slap 500 stim patches on him, and they die from drug overdose.
Better when you talk to it.
Oh, okay. So I thought I was talking, but anyway. Flash forward to 5th edition, I played last year, and it came up as like, no, you need a first aid skill in order to use a slap patch. And it's like, really?
No.
So, my question is, have I drunk too much alcohol since 1st edition and just remembered that wrong, or maybe that guy was bullshitting me because I never actually saw his diploma from Cambridge University?
I mean, I guess it depends on how crazy your person is, that they might need first aid to understand what skin is. They don't understand anatomy, maybe, but you don't need it.
So are you asking, would it require special skills to use a slap patch?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we have a pharmacist in the audience. My wife is a pharmacist. You don't have to come up here. I'm not going to try to embarrass you. But is it conceivable that you would be able to, so a slap patch is like an instant effect patch, right? So is it conceivable that you would have what do you call that method of getting drugs into your body that's through the skin? Transdermal. So are there drugs that act transdermally like immediately?
In Shadowrun, there's DMSO.
Right.
Okay, so I was gonna bring that up in a minute, but my wife's not here, but I've got like my favorite street doc player over here, and he's giving me grimaces of like, no, there's no first aid needed for a slap patch. That's crazy, right? That's essentially the poor man's way uneducated man's way, essentially, to solve health problems, right? That's what slap patches are for.
Right. I think we've sufficiently answered the question for you.
Yeah, but if I can, just really quickly, because he brought up the DMSO thing, how many of you will let people put a slap patch in an auto injector? All right, we got We got four people. All right, I was just
Seriously,
curious.
why
I was
the
curious.
frag not?
I always want people to let me.
So I have one really good reason I will not allow this to happen, and that's primarily because slap patches tend to get used, and it's in cases where somebody's gone down and someone else needs to get back up, and it evokes teamwork, right? So it gets other people to interact with other people in a game that sometimes it's hard to really find opportunities to play with each other in combat.
Right.
That's my only real reason to do it, but
Sure.
I'm just curious because it comes up a lot.
We've got another question.
Is there? Oh, fantastic. So that was a really good answer because I've never seen that. So there is some published... Yeah, there's published canon stuff where that is a possibility. That's great.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
That's good.
What's the next question?
Hey, how you doing? RJ Thomas, longtime listener. How you doing? I guess what I want to...
Shadowrun freelance author who is an award-nominated author.
I didn't want to, totally pin myself out, but thanks for doing it for me.
Yeah, that's what friends are for.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Fist bump. All right. Speaking of which, I kind of want to hear a quick little story from everybody. In either your long or short history as Shadowrun players or GMs, if you could go back, either as a player character or a GM, and change something that happened, be it an outcome of a dice roll that adversely affects something that greatly affected your character personally, or whatever, something that you still to this day wish you could kind of go back, rewind, and have that great GM from the sky or whatever say, here's your chance to roll edge and re-roll that. What would that be?
Holy cow. What a question. Does anybody want to, any of you guys want to answer it, or Cassie want to answer it?
I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
I killed 2 of my players in the last few months. And
The players?
Sorry, not the players.
Like the actual players?
That would be rude and difficult because one of them's in Brazil. It was I had to go on my own personal Shadowrun. Two characters that were nearly 10 months old, I think each. They'd been playing for a long time, and they both died permanent deaths, not edge burny deaths, like permanent deaths. And I'm really sad. I still miss them. I regret that. But it also made for really good story material, and we're doing epic things because of it. But I, to this day, don't want to do it ever again, which makes DMing hard.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's tough.
It was a good story. It was an epic moment. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a beautiful moment, really, for the first one, especially because Francis was on that run, and they were kind of fleeing the bad guy. They had kind of solved the mission, what they needed to do, and it was GTFO, right? And he was literally being almost half carried out by that man, actually. So it was a rough job. But it was so perfect because the player who ended up dying had an emotional attachment to his motorcycle and would not leave it. He could have outrun the danger on foot because he was augmented up Street Sam who could have sprinted and just took off. Yeah. But he had an emotional attachment and he stuck with it, and it cost him his character. But it was a beautiful moment, but still sad.
Yeah, no doubt. Damien, what about you? Do you have anyone's?
You know what? This is going to sound like crap, but I've actually been incredibly lucky with the characters I play, and I don't get to play all that often. I have a handful of characters, and quite frankly, I haven't really had to burn much in Edge. I managed to somehow get out of situations. So no, I can't think of anything with Vendetta Violent when I was playing her. Payday has been extraordinarily lucky. So you know what? I'm just gonna count my blessings and not have to answer that question.
Burn Edge, just stuff Aeon back into the cyber deck.
Hellhound was lucky.
Yeah.
Cliff, what about you?
So these are dice roll specific things, like how the dice fell?
Just an event, even.
Well, I'm still a little bit salty about Maverick offing Elrond's Hellhounds. Elrond was like, they were a red herring gang in the adventure, and yeah, I figured like they'd question them and that would turn them on to the next thing, but he just goes and shoots the guy's dogs in front of him, and there's the gang fight. So there was that, but that was also fun and cool. So, and very, very Maverick. Other than that, man, I don't know, all the crap that happens to your characters helps forge and make them into who they are, or kills them. I kind of like what happens. I guess in general, I wish I would roll critical glitches more often because they're fun and they give you edge back.
Yeah, no, that's a really good answer because I was thinking the same thing. Like, I'm the kind of person who, when bad things happen to my character, I like it, right? So my answer is similar to Cassie and Cliff's, which is from a GM perspective. I wish that, I wish I would either, more or less, I wish I would be harder on you guys in the actual play. All of these three are in the actual play. I wish I would be a lot harder on them.
It's fine.
Just do it. Just do it.
I honestly wish I would just fudge it in that direction. I should just make...
Do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and you're right, sometimes I want to glitch. Like in that crazy like Batman story that I did earlier, I had one of those contacts on my shoulder. And it's not like I really cared about him, but I was just hoping for that glitch so that maybe, I drop him. Like,
right.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention roll for that to see if you did.
Yeah.
Because you drop like 20 stories
Right.
and then fight the thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, actually, no, that number of hits. It's just too cool.
Yeah, I was thinking like an oops could be hilarious, but there were a lot of hits.
I really like the anarchy like dice. The glitch dice in anarchy is a lot more fun because you don't have to worry about like you get 100 dice after a point in your career, and then you don't really ever have to worry about a glitch again.
Oz has moved up towards the... Did you want to ask a question? We have time for one more short one, so I think, Oz, you can ask that question, and then we
Oz
can...
from Join the Anarchy.
Yes, hi. All right, so my question is for Cassie and Damien. Now that we're kind of like a little more deeper into anarchy, I wanted to see like what you guys are thinking about now that you're deeper into it. How do you feel about it now that you've had the chance to play it more? And I know that you're also doing a bunch of cool stuff for Anarchy, so I wanted to maybe
just general opinion on Anarchy.
Well, yeah,
start with Damien,
and also pull out some of the stuff that you're doing for Anarchy.
He's trying to plug what I'm making for Anarchy. Start with Damien.
So I absolutely love it. I think that it being the system it is. It has a lot of storytelling potential that maybe you couldn't do as much with Shadowrun 5th Edition. I do Tales from the Stuffer Shack, just started that one, and it's about 2 clerks in a Stuffer Shack. It's easier to tell that story with the casual-ish system, not for casuals, but just laid-back system that Anarchy is, that encourages storytelling. I'm excited to be able to tell those kinds of stories in Shadowrun, around the table and through an actual game that I might not have ever been able to properly do.
Right.
Yeah, so we've got 2 things. With the Emerald Grid, I've started what we're hoping to do a reoccurring campaign that we'll get more people in and out of. To answer the question on whether or not you can play Shadowrun Anarchy Black Trenchcoat, because I know we often see it as much more of a narrative and like Mohawk thing.
Yeah.
And I don't do Mohawk very often. I like to play really dark stuff and difficult games. And we did a run, and it turned out pretty rough. It was a challenging thing. A few players, including Sledge, had to run away when they about died. So we'll hopefully find that out. And to answer Oz's saying, playing Anarchy has inspired me to start trying to create an actual Roll20 Anarchy sheet that is better than the current one you can get that's officially. I'm actually using if anyone's seen it, the actual Shadowrun 5th Edition Advanced sheet. And I'm pulling a lot of kind of the way he did stuff in that to make an Anarchy sheet that will be more robust and hopefully all-encompassing. And then you can... Because there's no Roll20 or there's no Chummer or Hero Lab yet for Anarchy, so it'll hopefully cover some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that'll be up soon, a couple weeks.
Well, that's time for this. That sound, of course, means that we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you guys for coming and talking to me and Cassie here at Origins. Thank you guys for being here and listening to us and giving us some great questions.
And answers.
Yes. Well, yes, answers, and yeah, you guys have.
We should do more of these where we just have the demo team answer our questions for us. You guys mind just covering our podcast? That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've been having a lot of fun. We're very excited about as we talked about earlier, we're very excited about the Shadowcasters Network. So please get, for everyone who's listening, go to shadowcasters.network, check that out. There's going to be tons of stuff coming. And we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page now, Shadowcasters Network on Facebook. We've got a Twitter account. I think that's SR Casters, actually. It's at SR Casters. So do that. We're going to be all over doing stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, go to the site and tell Bobby how much you hate his site.
Yeah.
Try to break it. Just press all the buttons and break things.
Yeah, find all the problems for me. Indeed. Anything that you guys, I guess we all kind of just plugged one. Normally this is the part where I have people plug things, but we kind of just did one big giant plug for all of us, didn't we?
We don't really have to anymore. The Shadowcasters Network takes care of it.
No more plugs.
Yeah, go there.
Plugs,
just that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from me, from Cliff, from Cassie, from everybody, we've had a really great time talking to you guys, and we love doing this episode. But if you want to contact us...
Sounded really genuine.
Did you even say your name, Damien? I feel like he was looking at the iPad as if to find out who you are again.
No, I was looking at the iPad to find out what I need to say to close out the episode.
Unbelievable.
20 episodes in, and I still can't do this. But yes, when I'm distracted, I always forget about Damien. So Damien, you're
it's part of our bromance.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
If you want to contact us on the show, you can tweet at us at 6 World Podcast, or email the show at 6worldpodcast.com. Our website is 6worldpodcast.com. Of course, you can also find us at Shadowcasters.network, like I've already said. Our outro music that you're about to hear is from Johnny Nuclear and the Meltdowns. Have you guys listened to that? If you haven't, you should. There's some really cool Shadowrun-inspired music. Our logo and artwork is done by David McDermott. He's at 6worlddesigns.tumblr.com. He's does some cool Shadowrun stuff. So from Damien, and from the rest of us, but especially Damien.
Thank you. Finally, the respect I deserve.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for listening, you guys. You have a wonderful time at the rest of your Origins. Those of you here and those listening at home, you guys, thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Did that work? Oh, I can't do an episode without messing things up, guys.
Brutal bottom feeder.
How about we're gonna start over. I know what the problem is, and we're gonna fix it right now. The problem is that's not music. There it is.
That's music.
That didn't last very long. All right, I'm cutting it here.
Cut it off.
Bye.
Put it in post.